welcome back. This is part 3 of Thrive. I believe it is the middle parts between Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower, and then Hot House Flower continues in this part, which would be the second half of the 2 years that they are struggling to stay together. And it's also, I believe, where they have their setbacks. We know that Lauren falls off the wagon. I'm not really sure what happens with Lily, but I do know that, here we go. Lauren Hale is the definition of hurt people. Hurt people. And it's sad. This really fucking sucks. And to have a mom like this is horrendous. And a parent myself, I cannot imagine treating my children like this. I don't know what to say. Our mom has no self-awareness. If she did, she realized how much she suffocates Stacy and how much she ignores me. But then again, maybe she does realize it and she just doesn't care. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, though. She hasn't cast me out of the family. She's just dealing in a very passive-aggressive way. I don't give a fuck how badly your child messed up. You can be disappointed. You can be upset. You can whatever. But you don't treat your child like shit. And you don't disown them. Even though she basically disowned her when she was born. So there's that. I did not realize that it was Reich's idea for Daisy to move out. I thought it was Daisy's own idea, unless I forgot and missed something when I read Hot House Flower, but I really don't think that was ever brought up. So, in which Lo agrees with, even though there's a little bit of suspicion there, but it's not much. But I do know that it's a lot better for her to move out of that house and be away from her mother, who is suffocating and just overall not helping in her mental health. All right, everyone's just joining in now. Okay, so I don't know when everything was going to be released, and I don't know how his father found out about everything before it got released. But Lauren's father is telling him probably about the rumors that are about to start happening and going into the media and the shit that makes him relapse.
Mm-hmm. Not the relapse.
Not the relapse.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Not the relapse. How fucking tough are you, Lauren? He asked the bar behind him. I grit my teeth. Is there a fucking level? Scale 1 through 10, a numerical system? What do you want from me? He breathes heavily, his nose flares. In a few weeks, you're going to see what kind of man you really are. You can sell me down the river, son. He sets his glass too forcefully on the bar, and a fissure snakes through the crystal. What are you talking about? My pulse kicks up a notch. You're going to be hearing some things soon, my dad said. With a curled lip, he's drunk, wasted. I can see it in his glazed pained eyes. Maybe it's punishment on my part for thinking that I could raise a bastard into anyone more than what you are. His tongue runs over his teeth in distaste. No guilt flashes, no fucking remorse. I guess I'm just a bastard then. It's about the rumors that got started in Hot House Flower. No. About Lauren's father physically abusing him and Lily, and also sexually abusing them, which is what they're thinking how Lily got her sex addiction from, or it was a course in it, but it was not. And they all set the record straight, saying that the rumors were not true in Hot House Flower. Again, there are tons of spoilers in this video if you haven't already noticed. This is another piece of the puzzle that we get before it actually happens. We get the story. We get the in-between story in Thrive, in Lily and Lo, and not in...
It checks out.
Yeah, it definitely checks out, yep. You don't understand, I shout back. Squeezing Lily's hand, you don't get it. What don't I get? He growls. How can you put up with this shit and to defend him? Because he's just like me, I retort. He's nothing like you. He's in pain, I shout. I've given you your life, Lauren, and he's hurting me before I can hurt him. You can sell me down the river, son. I have no idea what's wrong with him. What he heard to make him bitter and malicious. Why he thinks I'm going to fuck him over. I hate that he can't just tell me. I hate that everyone censors parts of my life from me.
Fucked up.
Yeah, really fucked up.
Yep.
The relationship that Lauren has with his dad is, yep,
You know
needs some serious fucking
You know
help.
what the more fucked up part is?
What?
You got an employee named Lauren. Are we talking about her?
No, first of all, the Lauren in this book is a man. He's a guy. It's Loren. They call him Lo. Yes.
If you have a son, can you not...
I'm educating them on the Addicted series.
Hey.
It's called Thrive.
That's a good book.
This is the hardest day I've had in years, and according to my father, it's only going to get worse. So, Lo is feeling the effects of his addiction right now and really, really wants to fucking drink. And he stopped taking the antabuse pills that would make him puke. And this time he actually talked to everybody about it. And this is definitely foreshadowing for him drinking again. And so fucking hard. And this was brought on all by his dad. No one understands us. He's not the greatest father, but he never touched me like that. He's never abused me, not in that way. And I fucking hate that this is going to be a part of me for the rest of my life. And every day I'm going to have to repeat the same words over and over. My father did not molest me. This is very sad. And the news came out 3 weeks after his father alluded to Lo about it and prepared for any of it being anything like this. He was shocked when he answered the phone call and realized what was happening. And obviously we know he doesn't handle this very well, and now we're gonna see how everything starts and where everything went downhill. No, I didn't realize that it happened immediately after he found out this news and talked to his dad about it. He relapsed. Damn. I just want to drown, to numb the parts of me that can't withstand this reality. I just want to go away for good. Maybe when I wake up, my life will be different. Everyone will be happy. There will be no more pain. A scalding tear rolls down my cheek. My phone slips from my hand, thudding to the floor. I reach into the cupboard behind me and find a bottle of Glenfiddich Ditch 3/4 full. I pop off the crystal stopper and put the rim to my lips. I hesitate for only 1 second before the sharp liquid slides down my throat. Damn it, Lo! You fuck up! Oh my god. Damn it. The bad part is that all the hope ran out of Lo for being able to fix the situation, because the people that the reporters and the news outlets and fans and stuff are looking for, they're looking for validation from the two people that hate them the most. They're looking for validation from the two people that hate them the most. Very hard pill to swallow, because he feels like it's almost impossible for that to happen. Okay, so that scene just traumatized me. Definitely got more than he relapsed, and this is why we got the exact scene that he did it, and it's terrifying. And it really fucking sucks that this happened. And Lily was the one who found him. And even though she's seen him in this state millions of times because she was helping enable his addiction at one point, it's so much different now because he hasn't had alcohol in so long. And I don't know, for him to relapse like that, it's the fear coming off the page from all three of them. And Rose had never seen him like that. And Rose flipped the fuck out. That was hard to read. That was gut-wrenching. I feel really bad. That was horrible. And Connor just admitted for the very first time out of his mouth that he loves someone other than, obviously himself. And then Rose, he said that he loves Lo, which at one point he said he couldn't love anybody ever at all. And because Reich and Connor are like going at it because of what just happened. And you can tell how much they fucking care about him, even though Lo would tell you that he doesn't believe them at all. He thinks that everyone's going to leave him and that no one cares about him and that no one loves him. But reading this, it's like they both care and love him so much that they're physically fighting over him because they're so pissed that this happened and so upset and so scared for him. And I really wish that Lo could see this. And obviously he's asleep, at the moment. He has no idea this is going on. And I just really wish that he could see this and then see it for what it was and not second guess it. And now this mini chapter 48, is literally this big. It is 1 page and it's just Inner Thoughts of Lauryn Hale. And it skips a lot because this month is over the course of 2 years. And at the beginning of every chapter, it has year and dash amount of months. Month it is, and then obviously whose perspective it is. And Lo broke his sobriety multiple times. It wasn't just at once. It's obviously, and I know this, and I don't know any alcoholics personally at all, but I know that once you do break your sobriety once, it is a lot easier to do it again with, and that goes for pretty much anything. So this has been a span from March to July, and he's been in that, hasn't been back on the wagon. He's been, some days drinking, some days he's not. It's his inner thoughts saying that a certain date had passed that was supposed to be really, really, significant, and his and Lily's relationship, the most important, happiest day of your life. And by me saying that, you should know exactly what I'm alluding to. And it didn't happen because he fucked up and he drank. And that's really sad and really disheartening, but reading that little chapter really sucks, and it hurts my heart to know that that happened and there's no changing it and no going back, because he backtracked because of media, because of selfish fucking people. It's very enraging. But okay, Amy, you ready for?
And we have officially made it at chapter 49 to where Hot House Flower begins. Really looking forward to this, to be able to get into their minds and know what they were feeling when this was happening, because Hot House Flower has a lot of stuff to deal with them as a couple. Really big milestones, really big nation, and even in Hot House Flowers, I was like, what? How come it's not their perspective? How come I don't get to know how they feel or how they found out or how this happened, or why is it in this book but not in their book? And now it is in their book. I just didn't realize it because I was reading it in that certain order. So I'm excited to be able to see how everything comes together, because a lot of this information I already know from Hot House Flower. So I'm really, really excited to see how everything like plays out in their head and how it got to where it got, if that makes sense. And it's so freaking hard because I know exactly how Reich was feeling and what he was thinking in that exact moment, in that exact scene, and now I know exactly what Lo was thinking and how he's feeling. And if these two brothers could just hear each other's thoughts, it would make life so much simpler, but I know that's just not how life works. Oh my god, and here it fucking is. Oh, I'm so glad I get to see this scene where Rose finds out about her secret, and it's Lily's perspective, because obviously she's the one who tells Lily. Lily and her have been keeping the secret, and then I guarantee you we're going to figure out when Lily finds out her secret, all here in these pages. And I'm so excited that I finally get to read this, because oh my god, I had an inkling, and like I knew in the other book, even though they weren't telling you, because obviously it wasn't their perspectives and they weren't going to tell you that until it came out in the open to everybody. And now we actually get to see how it happened, how it went down, how they personally found out, and I'm so excited for it. Obviously it was not expected and wasn't supposed to happen, and she's freaking out, but I love it. I'm so happy that I get to see this. Oh my god, now I'm scared. Now I'm like, holy shit, is this literally happening together? Do they find out together, not one after the other? Like, I'm not kidding. Y'all, if y'all don't even know these books, know these characters, I would just be like, read this one chapter out of them all, because if this is the way it happens, this is surreal. This is like a scene out of a movie, just like a scene out of a book, and holy crap, if it happens this way, this is so freaking cool and so accidental, because I highly doubt that Lily would have known anytime soon if Rose didn't ask her to do this first. Bruh. I'm so excited. I really hope this is how they both find out. Y'all, I am so fucking done, because out of this situation, the way Rose can make it just hilarious and make it a competition, which it sounded like she was making it a competition in the last book, but just hearing it out loud from her own mouth and how she feels about the situation and how it really is a competition, and like he won over this thing is fucking hilarious. It's happening. Oh no. And even though I'm so excited this is happening, and I know that neither one of them is ready for this at this moment, kind of turned sour a tad bit because of the situation, because we all know how Lo feels about it, and she's so scared about the reaction, and she doesn't want to face this as reality, and she is coming to terms and realizing, oh shit, this happened, and then she admits to Rose for the first time that for the past 2 years, her and Lo have been dropped the blacklist completely, have not been doing the suggestions that her therapist gave her, and have been having sex a lot more. And I'm like, oh my god, that all just came out right there. And here we go with the Rose competition thing. Like, I didn't want this. Connor wants this. If he's as smart as he claims to be, he'll figure it out on his own. Girl. And it's hilarious because there are situations of the complete opposite. Because Lily's scared because of she knows that Lo's reaction isn't going to be good, or that's what she thinks, and that he's openly admitted he doesn't want this. But Connor is the complete opposite, where he has admitted and does want this and would be excited and happy, and Rose doesn't want to tell him because he's going to be happy and because he would have won something. Complete opposite. We'll help each other, she says. I love this, that they're doing it together, even though I know the situation right now to them feels dire and just not okay. But me reading it and knowing that everything works out in the end makes my heart swell. Oof. And here we are where Lo finds Reich and Daisy on his bike together at Daisy's going away party to go to Paris for Fashion Week. Just minutes ago, Reich told me there was nothing going on. I don't get it. I don't fucking understand why he has to lie to me. I ask him if he has feelings for her. He says no. I ask him if they're fucking. He says no. I ask him anything and he gives me responses he thinks I want to hear. He's walking on eggshells for me and I just need the fucking truth. Every day I feel like I'm going out of my mind. That little paragraph right there makes me think that if Reich did tell him how he truly felt about Daisy, he wouldn't be as angry as you would think, or as he would think. And we know that in Hot House Flower he didn't lose it as much as I thought he would have. He just wanted Reich to admit it. Although at this point him and Daisy are not together. They're rejecting and hiding their feelings, even though they both are attracted and want to be with each other at this point, but they're not giving into it for Lo's sake. But if, again, they could just read each other's thoughts or just talk to each other, everything would be so much freaking different. Because if Wright came clean and told him the truth, everything would most likely be fine. Because a lot of the things that Lo was saying about their relationship, one, because she was a minor before, and two, because he was so scared that his brother was going to leave him, that his brother was going to choose someone over him yet again, and that he was going to be left alone because Lauren berates himself so bad and believes that he should be alone, and basically wants suicidal, not suicidal, if that makes sense. Exactly. Fears so deep that I can barely touch them. He could fuck over Daisy, break her heart, he could betray me and break mine. I just need him to give me something. Tell me that he loves her. Tell me that this is more than what I think it is. Anything that can put these doubts to bed. Everything that he wants with Daisy, that Reich wants, he doesn't want a one-night stand. He wants a relationship with her. And if he told Lo that, if he just said those words out loud, because we know that's how he feels from his book, everything would be perfectly fine, and him and Daisy could have been together sooner than they were. They wouldn't have had to fight their feelings. Both him and Daisy would have been able to face their issues probably a lot sooner and faster, and they wouldn't have had to hide their relationship and have the public, their families, and their friends find out the way that they did if they would have just spoken, if they would have just talked to each other. But we all know that's not how life works. Oh, and this is the first time that we get to hear Lo's thoughts on the situation with Reich and their father and the accusations that are flying around. Because, again, I'm reiterating for the millionth time, if they would just speak to each other and tell each other their thoughts and how they felt on the situation, both understand and be able to work through this in a better way. But we both know that they don't work this way. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. I don't like being accused of things that I didn't fucking do, right, Grouse? That just about kills me. Yeah? How do you think Dad feels? Comes out before I can stop. The garage deadpans with silence, my hostile voice echoing. I have not once pressured Reich for a statement. I won't either. But every day he remains quiet is another day I fight this alone. All he has to do is go to the press. That's it. If he can't vouch for our dad, then why can't he at least vouch for me? Yeah, I'm not the greatest person to be around, but he's been by my side for 3 years. That has to count for something. Reich never understood in his book, and Lo felt like he didn't love or care enough about him because he wouldn't stand up for him, because Lo's going through this too. Lo's at the other end of this. These people are saying things that are untrue about him, and yes, most of the bad is on his father, and Lo would be considered the victim. but it doesn't matter. It hurts all the same. And because Wright can't see past his hatred and his anger towards their father to see that this is hurting Lo a lot more, that he's being torn down by it, and this happening is what is the reason why he broke his sobriety. And if he just wants to see Reich standing up for him and Reich being there for him and to prove once again that he loves him and he wants to be there for him, but this is something that Reich doesn't understand yet. Keeping this from Lo is like carrying around a grenade, not knowing when it'll blow up. I know this sucks for her, and I don't like the way that, so I'm really excited for the chapter that it does come out, because it was in Hot House Flower, and I really wanted to know how she was feeling in that moment, what made her go and do this, and I'm really excited to be able to see that. But I feel so bad for her that this is happening, but I know for them in the situation right now and how their relationship is, and with his sobriety, it's a lot. She's super freaking scared. In this scene right here, just like earlier in this book, I said that I loved the fact that we got to see more of Lo and his relationship and how that's evolving and growing. Seeing the conversations and the scenes and the relationships outside of the couples, I love that. And we just got to see Reich and Lily have a conversation together, and they come to a better understanding of each other. Reich, more empathy for her and her sex addiction, and she realizes that Reich is never going to be sex just as much as she does, and with just as many people as she has. Their situations are completely different, because hers was out of impulse and just wanting to reach climax, just wanting to get an orgasm. His was for fun and because he wanted to, and he sought out exciting things to do. Like, they've had sex in very similar places and situations, but they did it for two completely different reasons, and they can relate to that on some sort of level. And I love the fact that they just had this conversation and they both kind of realized things about each other, make them closer and stronger in their relationship.
And this is one part that was a big deal to me in Hot House Flower, where Reich breaks his 8-year sobriety because he just couldn't say the words. "What can I get you?" she asks. "What he's having." He points to the glass. The bottom of my stomach drops, realizing this stupid ploy so I can admit out loud that I am a fucking idiot. I'm a bastard. I get it. I know what I am, and it's no one good. I sip my drink in one swallow. I'm done. Let's just get out of here. I stand off the bar stool. This isn't happening. I don't need him to do this. Why can't he just let me go this once? I just need to breathe. His hands grip my shoulder. "Sit your ass down. I want a fucking drink." He literally forces me back onto the stool. "You sound like Dad. You know that?" I retort. "Just tell him. Just say the fucking words." I drank. The rise in a jagged ball to my throat, and I keep swallowing them. The bartender begins to make his drink, setting glass. "Right," I snap, forcing his gaze toward mine. What? His jaws hits hard. His eyes never soften. He reminds me of our dad, and it makes this more difficult. It makes it worse. I inhale a straight breath, the oxygen never leaving my lungs. In a peripheral, I see the bartender grabbing the whiskey. "Let's go. I told you I want a fucking drink." Why is he doing this? I tug at the collar of my shirt and turn back around, setting my forearms against the cold bar. Reich has been sober for 9 years. 9 years. What would he even toy with the idea of breaking that for me? My stomach whirls, alcohol making me more nauseous than anything. "Refill?" the bartender asked me. I shake my head. "No, I'm good." I hate him. I hate that he pushes me this hard. I hate that he won't leave me alone. I hate that he expects more out of me than I can ever give. I am falling. Beneath every sentiment I expel. "Cheers." Reich raises the glass, pausing for a brief second, giving me an out, telling me to stop him. Stop him. Stop him. The rim hits his lips. I am rigid. I am screaming to myself to move, to be a decent human being, to be worth this life that I've been given, and yet I watch him with deadness inside of me. He drinks alcohol. And I think, now we're even. For having the better life, for knowing about me for so long and doing nothing, for not standing up for me in the media and ending this torment. It's a thought that twists my face with brutal guilt. He licks his lips, disappointed, flashing in his eyes. Why does he have to be so good? "I hope you enjoyed that," he says angrily. "Which part?" I snap on impulse. "Me drinking or watching you do it?" "Hit me." His muscles flex, a vein pulsing in his neck, and instead of raising his fist, he grabs the glass, about to drink more. Lungs explode, and I pry it from his fingers quickly and hand it to the bartender. He's done. I start to slide off the bar stool as it were. I can't imagine what kind of asshole you are drunk. Before I leave, he grabs my arm. "You can't do this shit. Stop talking. You're supposed to call me if you have a craving to drink. I should have talked you out of it." "Maybe I don't want to talk to you," I scream, climb off the bar stool, and he follows suit, standing at 1 inch taller, face to face, both wearing scowls so dark that you think we were mortal enemies, not brothers. There's so much he's never told me about his past, and I keep waiting to hear it. I never push. That's not to him. But the longer he stays quiet, the harder it's become for both of us. We've hit a roadblock in our relationship, and I'm banging my head against brick while he watches me bleed. Then call Lily, he says, your fucking fiance? Who would be in tears if she saw you right now? Did you fucking think about her when you drank? Did you consider what this would do to her? No, I can't think about her when I drink. It hurts too much. I'm done with this shit, I say. I try to walk away from this. He grabs my arm. Let me go, please. You can't run from your fucking problems. They're there 24/7. You have to deal. Don't talk about dealing. You won't even text Dad back. You're ignoring him like he's not even alive. I shake my head. You're doing the same thing to him that you did to me. So why don't you just do what you do best and pretend that I don't fucking exist? I watch the pain take hold of his features. I stab him the only way I know how, and then I just push right on by. I just leave, wishing that I was someone else. For the millionth fucking time, if they could hear each other's thoughts, or they could just sit down and just say everything that they were thinking instead of holding it back, no matter how hard they want to say it, but it just won't come out. All the issues that they have would just go away. And I know that it takes so much time, and that's just not how life works, but all this pain and this heartache would have gone away so much faster and have been so much easier if they would have just been able to face that with each other. My heart breaks for it. Y'all, hearing Lauren's perspective of how the riot went is intense. I mean, he's been drinking and he's getting knocked around like a fucking rag doll, and Connor just seems to be pulling him through and no one's freaking touching him. And I was fighting to be like, no, Daisy, Reich, I have to save him. My brother was pulled away from me and I can't leave him, and I didn't want him to leave me, and he's been pulled in and I have to save them. And Connor's like, no, we can't. He's strong. He'll find Daisy. We'll meet up with him. Now, Connor's making the smart, rational decision, which we all know is going to happen. But Lauren's like, oh my fucking God, I have to find them, which I completely get as well in that panic. But they are just, honestly, it'd be worse if they went in that than leaving, because then they could have also been just as badly hurt. I wonder if this is the event that finally gets him to stop drinking again and like actually try harder, because he feels so much guilt and remorse for what's happening. So maybe try harder in his sobriety. Being dragged by the jacket away from me, I rewind to screaming at him, saying that I wish he never existed in my life. I rewind further to forcing him to drink alcohol. Connor, I whisper, in hot liquid pools in my eyes. What have I done? Connor holds the back of my head, but I can't stop these raging feelings. I can't stop the remorse or the fear of what's happened. He forces my gaze on his. Please, my chest falls heaving. I can't deal with it anymore. I don't want any of it. Tears pour out of me, and I try to breathe. Sharp pains stab my ribs with each one. My head floats from the lack of oxygen, and all I think is, kill me. I am miles away from the one person who can talk me down from this edge, from the one person who has been with me every step of my life, who has shared memories and moments that no one else will ever see. If I give up, she is gone. I destroy this bond that transcends love. Taking your soul with me is the only thing that keeps me breathing. I watch Connor bite a pill in half with his front teeth. His eyes flicker in mine, full of uncharacteristic concern that he rarely shows anyone. Are you putting me to sleep? I ask. Not in the way you'd like, he says softly. He passes me half of the pill. I can't take your pain away, no matter how much I want to. He pauses. This is the best I can do for now. Every moment of my life has a mountain that I struggle to climb. Oh, poor Lo. I'm so sorry. But the way that the authors have written this, they've written it so well and made it so authentic and so real, at least to me, and I know to a lot of readers that absolutely love this series, that it breaks my own heart, because I feel like Lo is my friend. Like, I know him personally, and he's going through this. I want to take that pain away just as badly as all of his family and friends do. This definitely makes my heart and my head feel a little bit better, because in Hot House Flower, I got really, really upset over the fact that Lily and Rose were not going to Daisy's rescue immediately when all this crap was going down in Paris. So 2 events happened that was really bad, and one that was still bad but not as bad. She was physically hurt, and the other one, it was just emotionally. And the first one, they wanted to go, but they wound up not going because Lily had an exam that she could not miss, and if she did, she would fail and she would flunk out of college. So her senior year, she wouldn't be able to graduate, and she's worked so damn hard to get to where she is to be able to graduate. Like, in school was never like her thing. And now that she's finally at the end, after going to school and working through her addiction at the same time, and she's hit so many milestones, she didn't stay there. So she couldn't go the first event. And the second event is where I got really pissed off, where why wouldn't they come to their sister's side? And the sentence that I'm reading says, Rose and I already checked flights and threw clothes into carry-on. So they were ready to go. They were ready. Although we know in Hot House Flower that they never actually went because Daisy talked them out of it, but they were ready to go. They had booked flights. They had bags. They were getting ready to go. They just couldn't leave because they were waiting for their flight for them to actually go. So they did put the initiative in and cared so much about their sister that they were going to go and not hesitate to go. So that makes me feel a lot better about the situation. Oh my God. And the situation with Lo is so fucking sad. But this is freaking everything. Lily just knew exactly what to say. I mean, and then I can't. Okay. I'm never going to defeat this. Lo, I breathe, licking my dry lips. You're forgetting something. He exhales deeply. What's that? We're in Earth 616. This isn't an alternate universe. I clutched the phone tighter, tears falling. We're going to have our happy ending. It's just going to take us a little while to get there. He told me that once when I hit a low. Now that he just needs to remember his own words. He breathes out again like a weight is slowly lifting off his chest. Do you believe me? I whisper. Every word he says. I want to hold you. I smile and wipe the rest of my tears. You are. Yeah, he murmurs. Lily. I wait for him to finish his thought, and one of my hands gripping my white comforter. Very softly, he says, I wouldn't be here without you. It is bigger than I love you. It is a declaration that solidifies what I've known for so long. We aren't connected by our addictions, but by our childhood. Souls fused together from the very, very start. That is the sweetest thing ever. And their relationship is so intertwined. And although it was extremely codependent, they've worked through that for a good while now and are coming out stronger in the end. And I think that even though that he's having this huge setback now, it's only going to make them stronger as a couple and as human beings, and they're going to know each other better. And the more you go through, the stronger you become, and that's exactly what's happening. Lo has been through so much in his life, and not a lot of people would be able to handle that. And even though he isn't handling it because he's turning to alcohol, he's surviving it, and he's going to come out in the end. Oh, yep. I don't think Reich understands that Lo just wants him to be honest and tell him the truth. He doesn't care as much about the fact that he's with Daisy, but that he wants to know, he wants to hear it from Reich and to tell him the truth about how he really feels. Yeah, she's no longer underage, and yeah, he's terrified about, you know, him not wanting that to be in an actual real relationship. But more importantly, what he needs from him is pure honesty and to be able to trust Lo with the information. He whispers something to her. His lips brushed her ear, not discreet about it. They've never been. And then she smiles brightly, her fingers falling to the band of his jeans. Their embrace takes me like a swift kick. And it's in this single moment that I know for certain they're together. So I ask, did I miss something? I gesture between them, my jaw sharpening on instinct. I wait for my brother to tell me that whole truth for once. Please. And then he takes a step back from Daisy with a pissed expression like I ruined everything. He's not even giving me a chance. He says, we're just friends. Right, I nod a couple times. I'll meet you at the car. Boiling, it goes beyond them together. It's that he can't be honest with me. He asked me for this complete trust, but it's becoming harder and harder when he builds walls between us. He once said that I stand vulnerable in front of Connor, someone who wears layers and layers of armor. Well, I bear all of myself to him. Somewhere along the way, they switch places. I wonder what it'll take for him to finally see it. Damn, Reich. You fucking up, boy. Put this out there in this video because this is not said enough. And I really wish that Daisy could read Lily's thoughts because she feels so left out of their group and wants to be included so badly, but doesn't feel like she still feels like she's on the outskirts and would feel like she can trust them with her information and her truth and what's going on with her. And also because she's not the type, she doesn't want to burden anybody with her own problems. But what Daisy doesn't get is that they're her sisters, they're her family. They're supposed to be there to help her with her problems. But because they see that they are all dealing with their own crap that she doesn't want to add to it. She made it really hard to be upset for her. She's talented at that. But sometimes I just want to hug her for an extended minute or two and put more attention on her, the good kind that she deserves. And now Lily knows, and she's sensing it. And I've already said a lot earlier that she is very intuitive, and I think that also has to do with her personality because she's very introverted and stays to herself, and she's more quiet than anything. So she observes and she knows her friends and her family that she's around. So I think she knew, and he knows, and Lo is like asking her like, what if they were together and why haven't they told anybody yet? And she literally states to him, because they're scared of how you're going to react. And that's the God honest truth.
Oof. And here we are, the knockout drag out that Reich and Lo are about to have because they saw the headline in the newspaper of Daisy and Reich kissing, and that's how the entire world found out. That's how their family, their friends found out, everybody. They didn't get to tell anybody themselves, caught by tabloids, and they didn't even realize it. realize that they had gotten caught until this happened. Lo just feels horrible because he feels like he betrayed him, and like, my own brother can't trust me with this and this and this. He wants to be treated like a brother and not some fragile little child. So this fight that they're having isn't even about Daisy and the relationship that he hid. It's mainly about the fact that Lo feels like Wright can't treat him like a normal human being, like his own brother, like he can handle it. And he's just treating him, who desperately wants him to treat him like everybody else and not just a little kid. We get to know what Lo is thinking about what Wright tells him about why he hates his father so much and what his life actually was. My jaw locks. I give him a hard time because I've been jealous of his strengths, of the way people respect and trust him, not because he showed up late in my life. The fact that he appeared at all is more than what. How could I keep holding that against him? If he feels any regret about that, then he's projecting it on me, beating himself up about it. Our dad has always been at the center of our grief, and I recognize how hard it must be to help a man that has shit on you and cast you away and chosen the bastard. I get it now, but I'm also a part of this mess. And now the Daisy thing, Emily reacts to it and tells him, like, hey, I know, like, why are you doing this? Trying to make sure that he has the right intentions for her. And you see that in Hot House. But what you don't see is obviously what Lo's thinking. And he's very grateful that finally he's being honest with him and that he's accepting him, and he has to take his word for it and believe that, you know, he actually does love her. He's not just using her for sex. There's so much that he had chosen somebody other than Daisy, that they weren't meant to be together. Because Lo was hoping that Daisy would be able to escape everything that their families are going through, and that she could just make her own life for herself and not have to be sucked into their world. But honestly, I get where Lo's coming from, but that's not what Daisy wants. Daisy wants to be included so bad. So even though Lo wants to protect her and doesn't want her to have to be in the middle of everything, that's exactly where Daisy wants to be. What's past is past. I want to restart. Maybe we'll both have more faith and trust in each other after all of this. I am more at peace with him now than I have been in years. It took blood in a hot desert, but we reached this place. I can almost breathe again. And that's amazing. And it's something that's very similar to what Wright said too. Again, we get to see another relationship form between Lo and Daisy. They are having a more intimate conversation, and Lo is starting to feel differently towards Daisy than he did before. She was always just this baby little sister, but now that her and Reich are together, he feels like he needs to take a more protective stance over her than he did before, because Reich would do the same thing for Lily, and he has shown that a million times. So they're having a real conversation now, and a real honest conversation, and Lo is telling her exactly what he thinks and like advice and stuff like that. And again, I love the fact that we get to see another relationship forming other than the couples. Okay, so Lo just found out what declaration Lo and Reich's father have declared that he is going to do to be a part of their lives again, and Reich demanded it out of him, and he said okay, he's going to do it. And we saw that scene in House Flower, and now we get the scene afterwards where Lo finds out it's going to happen, or it's supposed to happen, and he's like, all right, I'll believe it when I see it, which I honestly completely agree with. And he's shocked because he's like, he just doesn't know how to feel, because he's completely dumbfounded and taken aback by this, because he never thought that this would ever happen in a million years. So we'll see what happens, and I really hope it works out, because if it does, even a better, happier ending than I ever thought possible for them.
So I wonder if this is what stopped Lily and freaked her out so much that she wound up not telling Lo the truth that same day, because she was hyped up. She was so ready. She was like, we're in a better place. What is this going to get for right now? And I have to tell him soon, because I'm not going to be able to hide it for much longer. And she had got up the courage and was getting ready to do it later that day, and then he says something that catapults it, and it just ruins the whole thing, and now she's terrified again. Lily, Rose whispers, I'm okay. I internally shake my head. I'm not. I don't see how I can ever break this news in a good way. I don't see how this can ever be okay like I hoped. How long has she been gone? Reich suddenly asks, and the bottom of my stomach drops. I check the cushion next to me, already knowing Lily isn't on it. Shit, I curse. I shoot to my feet, fear rattles my bones, vibrating every ounce of me until I filled with dread and panic, and the rawest form of adrenaline. Just forced to act by instinct. I barely hear Connor and ask how long she's been gone. I don't wait for them to follow. I turn in place she retreats to whenever she battles her addiction, which is the bathroom and the bathtub. But little do you know that she's not there battling her addiction. She's there fighting back a secret that she's so terrified to tell you, because you so forcefully
don't want it. The guilt slams into me. I press her harder to my chest, her legs clenching around my waist. It's okay, Lil. I never meant for her to bear a burden this heavy alone, not one we should have carried together. Met with reality, I only want to do right by Lily. I just want to fix every wrong that I have ever made. I am ready, so fucking ready to defeat this, to never face these demons again. I am done feeling sorry for myself. Perseverance, to do anything, to be anything, to thrive. Someday that world will belong to us too. After years of coming up short, it's all I've ever wanted. So the secret finally came out. Rose's secret has been out for a while and everyone reacted to it differently, but obviously Lily's secret was not registered as well because what Connor wants is not what Lo wanted ever. And now that it's happening, Lo's accepting it and realizing that I have to do this. I don't really have a choice, and I have all these people surrounding me that love me and care for me and that are going to help me get to where I need to be, and he feels that confidence from them and is so grateful for that. And it makes him feel like that he's going to be able to get there someday and that they're going to make it through this. And it warms my heart. And I didn't know what he was feeling or what he was thinking in that moment when we found out in Hot House Flower that this was happening. But I now finally get to know exactly what his internal thoughts were and not just what he said out loud, so what he was thinking before he said it. And I love that I finally get to see that because it fills in all the missing pieces. Reich finally tells the guys what was going on with Daisy, and it's a good scene because Lo now understands how they fell in love, how the entire situation happened, how deep Reich and Daisy's relationship goes. He had no idea. He didn't realize where it started. He didn't realize that it was just attraction. He didn't understand, and because the explanation after Daisy was able to tell her sisters and he was finally able, because it wasn't his story to tell. It wasn't tell them what was going on with her. It was Daisy needed to confront it first. And now that she finally has, he was able to come clean to them as well. And Lo finally understands how everything happened and has even more respect for the relationship. And the suggestion that Lo puts at the end of this chapter is by far my favorite because now everyone's going to be freaking together. And this is a very huge moment because Lily just received her diploma from college, and when we started this series, Lily was in her junior year of college and she was dealing with her sex addiction and she hadn't faced it yet, and now she is in recovery for over 2 years now, and she finally got her diploma, and I am very, very, very super proud of her. Now you're an official college graduate, Lily Calloway. How does it feel? He says, pride overtaking his features. Good, I say, really, really good. It took me a long time to graduate from Princeton, especially after transferring there. I passed with a very low GPA, but I passed. That's all that matters to me. I look up at him, but it's not as good as other accomplishments. Going through recovery, taking the steps to be a better me, that achievement surpasses all others, and I definitely agree with her in that statement. I stare back at the ornament in my hand. This isn't pretend anymore, is it? We spent 3 years playing house together before we became an official couple. Lines between our relationship and our worlds have always blurred, like one foot in the alternate reality and one in Earth 616. No love. Lo tilts my chin up so I meet his swirling amber eyes. This is real. The end, other than the epilogue, which I have to read. 5, for me, is amazing. It officially ended. I love the fact that this book, I was able to see literally three worlds and 6 people's perspectives, all based around the same exact time. This book is 2 books in one. You get every single puzzle piece and it fits together to make a whole by reading this book right after the other 2, and now I know why the author said to read it in that order, and I love it. This book was able to give me hope. It was able to give me closure, and it just, the end of this book, even though there's a lot more books to come for this series, the ending of this shows that, like, this book could be the last book in the series if it wanted to be. Like, it definitely could with the way that ended, because it shows that they got through all of their conflicts and that they're coming out in another light. So what they have been going through for the past 5 books, 6 books, is now in the past, and now the future awaits them, and the next books are going to be covering their future and not what they were having to deal with in their past. Obviously their addictions are always going to be part of them, but I don't think that that's going to be a focal point for the other books. I think it's going to be something completely different with their futures together and their families. And I love the way that this ends, because it ends on a happy note. And yes, they
aren't fully at their happily ever after, but it's like the beginning of their happily ever after, and that makes my heart smile to every freaking extent possible. Okay, so the epilogue definitely was preparing us for the coming books, for sure. It ended on a very good note in the last chapter, and then the epilogue kind of put a damper on that. It kind of put a little shadow over it, although Lauren, the way that Lo's speaking to Lily right now at the very end, it's kind of masking some of that hurt and that shadow and trying to bring the sun out of the cloud, I guess you could say. Basically opened up and admitted that he liked before, and Lily was like, oh my god, I can't believe this, like, you're actually, like, you've never been like this, and this is our future together, and because this big thing is happening for us, to take everything one day at a time, and we're going to get through it together, and we're going to get through it slowly. You're not rushing, not wanting to get through the pain and the hurt, but wanting to take it slowly because it's important to him. And it's scary because Lily's worried that what's about to happen is going to hurt them in all new and different and maybe even worse ways than all the rumors and stuff that they had to do with in the past. But Lo's basically telling her, we got this. We can handle this, and he's strong enough to do so. They're all strong enough to do so, and that gives you a lot of hope and a lot of faith for the coming story. So I'm looking forward to it. But you guys, that was Thrive. That was the 2 years, one promise, stay together for Lily and Lo's perspective. It is Hot House Flower and it is Kiss the Sky. Both books in this book by two different people, and obviously other scenes that you won't get in those other two books. So I hope you guys enjoyed this read with me. I'm so excited to be able to bring into Addicted After All, which is Lily and Lo's final story, and then obviously we have the other two books for the other two couples, and then the last book that has every single one of their perspectives, which is by far the book that I'm looking forward to the most. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next one.